Today we're painting the Nurgling bases from episode 3. I'm going to cover my tips for diseased flesh, as well as show you some cool weathering and chipping effects for the toxic barrels. Let's descend together. I'll link the list of paints down below. Okay, as this is kind of a lengthy tutorial, I'm going to skip over a few stages here. If you want to see how I made this base or how I painted it up, you can go look at the top of your screen. I'll put a link there. Put them into your playlist and watch them after this. Okay, for the toxic barrel, I start with Reaper scorched metal all over the metal parts, but obviously you could use any kind of rusty metal, tin bits, whatever you might have on hand would be really good for this part. For the chipping effects, I use AK Interactive's heavy chip-in medium and give it a good thorough coating across the whole surface of all the barrels. Make sure that I have a nice coat there, because we're going to paint a layer on top of that, and then we're going to use a brush to scrape some of that. Once I'm done with the chipping fluid, I go back over the rusted metal with Manoth white highlight, although any cream or off-white color you have will do. This is kind of like a bleached bone, Ushabti bone color. Once that layer is dry, I'm going to wet this white paint down and then use a brush to scrape some of it off, and the chipping fluid will help ease this process. You really just want to make sure that you wet down this layer once it's dry, and it'll activate the chipping medium, and then just kind of go over it with a brush. Use different tools. You don't want to make patterns obvious. You just want to kind of go random about it to make it look like it's battle damaged and worn out, and really just kind of do it to taste. You don't want to go overboard, because the next step you'll need some of that cream color to really bring out the rusting and corroded effects that we're looking for. Okay, now here's where things get interesting. You're going to use a layer of streaking grime and go ahead and cover the whole barrel. You don't want to necessarily get it pitch black dark here, but give it a good covering. Give all the Manoth white highlights and rusted spots a covering of this streaking grime. Because the next step we're going to do, we're going to use some mineral spirits and a Q-tip to kind of wipe a lot of it away and give it a real streaky and filthy appearance that really will stand out with your Nurgle models. Okay, then using a cotton swab and some mineral spirits, you want to use it to gently swab off a good amount of that streaking grime, making sure you leave a little layer underneath to show the kind of filth and dirt that's accumulated on these toxic barrels. And you're going to do this to taste. But you want to get most of this stuff off while leaving the heavier dirt in the edges and recesses of the barrel. If you're finding value in this video, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button, leaving me a comment down below, and then check out this video up top. It's about my pile of shame, and I'll be making a couple new videos every few weeks updating you on it. Tell me what you think I should paint up next. For the cloth, it's real simple. I used a base coat of alien purple and an edge highlight of oozing purple. But you can use whatever color cloth material you like for your Nurgle figures. For the horns, I used Vallejo Glossy Black. For the boils on the skin, I used P3 Heartfire, but any really brilliant yellow will make the pus stand out against the green skin. And then I'll follow this up with Bloodletter Glaze by Citadel in a second here. Now I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the skulls, but I had a thing of skeleton horde and decided to use this Citadel wash on there. For the hand, I really debated what I wanted to do, so I started with the Citadel contrast paints, snakebite leather to get all these brown wrappings, and then after debating quite a bit, I just decided to paint up the hands the same colors as the Nurgle flesh to keep it consistent, like another Poxwalker is going to be rising out of the ooze and pus there to join the legions of Nurgle. And to finish giving the bases just a little bit more flavor, I used the Army Painter Frozen Tufts to give it a dead static grass look. That'll add a little bit more character to the figures. Okay, and then for the really big open wounds, I used Green Stuff's World True Blood, which I used in my very first video to try out on basing, and I thought it would look really nice in a smaller effect. And then over the top of all the pustules that I used Heartfire on, I used Bloodletter Glaze by Citadel. And then to keep it consistent with the rest of my army, I used P3 Arcane Blue and picked out the eyeballs. I then used the same color to go around the bases very carefully to finish them up.